the higher-ups back there. So. Okay, back on track here. I have the privilege of welcoming our keynote speaker today. Unfortunately, Alan Parker, who was scheduled to be our keynote speaker, couldn't make it here. I was looking forward to seeing Alan. Haven't seen him for a long time, and he's very influential in Indian country, and I think we all respect and appreciate what he's done. But the gentleman I will introduce doesn't have to take a back seat to anybody. He's been involved, since I've known Henry, being involved with the Lummi tribe, and very ambitious and trying to do what he can and what's right for the Lummi people, and building jobs and keeping the culture as well. So with that, I want to introduce Henry Cagey as our keynote speaker.
Now, CM and CM. I didn't know it was going to be the keynote, you guys. So, again, I just wanted to, thank you all for being here today, and really want to thank our funder. Where's she at? The Northwest Area Foundation. Where's she at? Is she here? Where's she at? Where's our foundation lady? I seen her this morning. Right outside hiding. The foundation was the one that kind of got us here is where we're at today. So again, our hands go out to the foundation. Those folks, it's been almost 10 years, I think, since we started the poverty grant here at Lummi, and I think this is probably one of the last ones we're going to see here for a while unless we find additional support for the summit. But the Ventures program and the foundation were a partnership with the tribe to get us going. There she is. Give her a hand. This is the foundation. So again, is that as it was mentioned by our floor speaker, we've been dealing with probably about 160 years of bad federal policy. As you look your way back and look at all the things that have happened to the tribe and tribes across the country, we're still evolving to what we want to become. And these federal policies are something that I've been working on for a long time for development. And the current things I've been working on for the nation is that the economic development has to be a better way that we understand what that means. We need a Lummi definition of what that means. I'm glad some of our council members are here. I want to introduce Rita. Rita's here. Our council member, she just stepped down from treasurer this year, so I think that's a blessing for her. Shasta's here, our new Madam Secretary. Where's she at? Hey. Jay Julius has just stepped down from secretary, so he handed off the baton to Shasta. And then who else is here? Is that it? Okay. So again, we have a new council, not new council, but new members, Nick Lewis and who's the other one? Travis Brocky. So again, is that we have two new ones that are just now, taking hold here this week. I think Tim brought them back to DC, and hopefully they'll be able to kind of get an idea what that town is like. Where to begin, I guess. I can just talk a little bit what I've done for the last 20 years for our nation is that I spent the last 20 years kind of fighting for money for our people from the Bureau of Indian Affairs, Indian Health Service. What I've seen these last, since Bush left, is that the money is starting to dry up. And it's getting harder and harder to get money out of that town. And the government has been really ignoring what the disparities are that we face every day, whether it's education disparities, health disparities, housing disparities, is that the time has come where we need to think differently and what we need to do. The Congress has really misunderstood what the intentions are for the Indian people. And nobody out there is going to help us. The state of Washington has ignored what we're trying to do. The federal government has ignored what we're trying to do. They'll give us a lot of promises, empty promises, on upholding the trust responsibility. For the last 20 years, it's been ignored. And we can see it today. We can see it with the homelessness, that our people are living in trailers, they're living in tents, they're living in abandoned homes. That's happening right now as we speak. So again, is that it's really going to be us, how we look at these problems that we face together. I was thinking about the thing, how we need to look at ourselves and differently. Bill's been the champion for our flood story. And I think the time has come where we think about gathering up our children again, because the flood is coming. We're drowning in overdoses. We're drowning in homelessness. We're drowning with no jobs. We're drowning with a lack of education. I think we need to think about that, what that looks like. These next 7 generations or the next 100 generations, we need to really think about what that looks like. The flood wasn't that long ago. So I guess my message to some of you folks is that let's think about that new way we're going to save our kids. Because again, without them having a strong base of who they are, I think we've started that, and what they want. I think what they want is something that we need to be clear on what that means. It's not a handout that we want them to have. It's not free sandwiches that we want them to have. We want them to be self-sufficient. We want them to be strong, Lummi people. We want them to stand on their own 2 feet. And that's something we need to really understand what that looks like. What does a strong Lummi family look like? What does a strong father look like? What does a strong mother look like? So as we begin to kind of look forward to what that means, I think it's important that we will do our part. Each one of you in the room here has a different part in our tribe, and can encourage and support your family, your kids, where you work, your co-workers, whatever part you have in the tribe is, you're there for a reason. So again, it's just how we begin to pull these things together. Where am I at here now? Am I preaching? They gave me a half hour, so I'm trying to take up my half hour here, so be aware. I can talk for a long time. Let me talk about taxation a little bit. One of the things that, I, as a councilman, what I'm working on is taxation. And what's happened over the last 20 years is that we lost some pretty key court cases with Cagey, that was over cigarettes, and Cotton Petroleum over oil and gas. And that really had a big impact on what we do on the reservations today. Meaning that the state of Washington can reach in here and tax the non-Indians that walk in that door and keep that 8% at 8 cents on the dollar every time. So what has happened is that we lost that battle. Indian country did. We didn't have the horsepower, we didn't have the lawyers at the time to really fight that battle. So the jurisdiction was weakened. So we lost jurisdiction over the states. And it really had a big impact, and you can see it today. The liquor store right here, we have to have an agreement with the state of Washington. The cigarettes we sell, we have to have an agreement with the state of Washington. The fuel is another one. So what that means to you is that we've lost that ability to collect that revenue and retain it ourselves so we can pay for the things that we need to pay for. What's happening today is that the Tulalip tribes are really challenging the state. Whether we prevail or not, we'll wait and see. As you know, the Tulalips are really working hard to do that. You go down to Quilceda Village and look, they're giving back $40 million a year in revenue back to the state of Washington. That's happening right now. I'm not sure what our number is that we're giving back to the state, but it's a pretty big number. So all that revenue that we get, we have to share with the state of Washington. So if we prevail, things will change. If we prevail with keeping that tax, but it's a long fight. The tax issue is something that I would encourage you folks to really understand. That's part of the economy. That's how the governments, make their living, through taxation. And it's something that we haven't really dug into deep, and it's the government's role to understand that for you. It's not really the business folks that you do every day, but it's our job to help make your life a lot easier in loosening the reins that the state and the tribe has on you. So the taxation is something that is to pay attention to it as things move forward. So tribes are slowly getting around that. Again, what I see at the Indian country is that the leaders are, we have a lot of new leaders across the country, and it's hard for them to understand what where we've came from and where we're going with that whole area on government to government and what that means. It's not about going back and asking for money. I did that. Now the new fight is that we want to be self-sufficient and we want our freedom back. We want our freedom back to be able to do the things we need to do to help you folks in small business without the state interfering, without the BIA interfering, and the tribe standing up to push you as hard as we can to make you self-sufficient so that every job that you create is a job for a family, it's a job for an individual that keeps you out of poverty. So that's the goal. What's that been, 10 minutes? How much time do I got? Lots of time? Okay. Economic development, taxation. Okay, we'll talk about Lummi. As you see across the street, the two flags that are out there, that's something that you might want to pay attention to, the small business folks, and there's opportunity there. Yeah, and I think there's opportunity for not for just building the brick and mortar, but more the business side of it. For those of you that are IT people, I would encourage you to think about who's the provider for that site there. Is there something that you could provide the service rather than Verizon or CenturyLink? We should be providing that service. Security is another one for that site. You know, think about all the things that go around that business. What we did this year at Lummi at the Business Council, and thanks for Rita's leadership, is that she changed the policy for small business. And that's a big shift for Lummi. It took us, 3 months, 4 months? We were fighting ourselves for supporting Lummi enterprises and Lummi businesses. It was really hard. Our non-Indians lawyers and folks had a hard time passing that policy. And the council didn't understand it a whole lot either, but basically what it meant is that we can now give preference to our Lummi businesses. And what does that mean to you is that you need to understand what that policy can do for you. It's a policy that is there for you. It's not just for the council or for the enterprises, but it's there for you. So look at it, and if you're curious about it, pick it up, and Rita's here. She can probably share it to you or send it to you. But it's a policy that, it's a procurement policy, I guess I should say. And procurement is what we buy. So as you look at the tribe, is that we are a $100 million government. We buy stuff every day. We buy food, we buy pencils, we buy everything that you can think of comes from Bellingham or Ferndale. So as you look at small businesses, really think of ways that you can provide a service to the nation, and think about it that way. I'd like to see somebody take over that phone service. I think right now the cell phones are something that I think we get an outside person to do cell phones. There's no reason why somebody can't do that. There's a bunch of things you should think about what we buy and how we buy it. So we kind of cleared the way for you to do that. And this I-5, I think, is probably going to be about maybe 3 years out, I figure, maybe 4. Depends on how we fight with the city of Bellingham is going to be the number one problem that we're going to see. Ferndale is kind of starting to get in line, but hopefully Teresa Taylor will get on the council this year here in Ferndale, so that's going to be a big shift for Lummi. And what's happening in that corner of politics is that we're getting stronger in support on getting these county governments to see us. Whatcom County, City of Bellingham, Ferndale. We now have money to do that. And it's always been said, if Lummi had money, we'd be dangerous. So there's been a lot of money and time spent in educating these local leaders and how they see us. I think the city is, and the counties and the governments are ready for us if we have a plan to go forward with small business. I think we're ready for that. We're going to test it with our Lummi construction project, our construction company we have off reservation. We have a track record that we've started. You know, there's a lot of criticism of the hotel that maybe they're behind schedule, but again, that's us. That's you. That construction company is our company. You know, we have to support what we're trying to do in building our people up, not tearing them down. And again, so if you hear that, you know, try to correct them and say, look, you know, this is our company. Yes, they're behind schedule, but you know, they're doing the best they can. So this construction company is there for a track record. It's an 8A company. How many know what people at 8A is? 8A? 1, 2, 3. 8A is a preference that the government gives minorities. And we're considered a minority in the SBA. And for the last 5 years, we've been trying to build a 8A company. And with no money. It's been built with no money. So the government hasn't really given us a whole lot of money to get that company started. So it's kind of been fighting for everything that they can build. They built the Head Start building. They built the men's transitional home, the care center, and then the hotel. But even that has opportunity around that for services for the company. Flagging, cleanup, you know, some startup businesses can be created out of that effort. So think about those folks that are interested around construction. So it's just kind of in the beginning stages of spreading our wings off reservations. So we're heading down to Quinault. Where's Rex? We're heading down to Quinault very soon to put in a bid for their parking garage. So if we're successful, we might get a contract off reservation to also kind of keep going with our construction company. I-5, what you're going to see this year is the dirt across the street is the beginning of a gas station. It's the beginning of, we haven't found a partner yet. Have we, Rita? Have we found a partner? Yeah. Pilot, I think we did get one. Okay, we're looking at Pilot, I guess, is one of the companies, and that's the folks that are right down the next exit, exit 262. That's Pilot. And those folks are there to help us get that diesel and gas going. So we think it's going to be one of the biggest truck stops on I-5 is our goal. And so if we can get that going, again, there's something to think about is working with Pilot, talking to Pilot about opportunities for you as small business individuals. What's in it for me? So ask Adib, he's sitting in the back, and what opportunities exist. You know, those stores are, you know, they have a lot of things in it. You know, there's no reason why we can't have our arts and crafts and our things in that store. Okay. So again, maybe, yeah, just think about it that way. The next thing is the 180 acres that we bought in trust. There's no really plan on it yet, so we really can't disclose or share anything what we're doing because there's no plan. I think we're still looking for ways that it's going to make a good revenue stream for the nation, and whether it's a hotel or a water park, or I've heard a lot of different things that we're thinking about, but getting the right investor to come in and invest on a reservation property is really tough because there's a lot of uncertainty for money to be invested on reservations. Individuals are really reluctant to invest in money because of the unknown of sovereign immunity, the unknown of whether or not their money is going to be protected by the banks or the courts. So there's been a really reluctance to invest, and it's really tough to find people that are willing to stand with you. It takes a lot of trust to come here to a reservation and invest money. And again, it's the Cotton Petroleum case, it's these lawsuits that really poke us hard on those areas, because it's bad federal policy. So these federal policies, these court decisions really give us a black eye when we ask non-Indians to come out here and come to the reservation and go to work, because their money's not protected. We can shut it down. New council can come in and shut it down anytime, and they're out of money. That's happened a few times around Indian country. So there's a real reluctance, and Indian country is really small when it comes to those kind of things. You know, word goes out pretty fast that, you know, we're in trouble. So, you know, those kind of things happen to us pretty often. So the marijuana thing you're hearing is that's a one right now that we're trying to get our minds around. You know, we're seeing the state of Washington change their policies. I've been asked a few times to look at it, so I don't know how I became the guy on that thing, but somehow I have. Mainly it's about sovereignty and jurisdiction for me. You know, what bothers me about this whole thing is that we were never consulted on this whole thing that has happened to us. They legalized the marijuana, and we were never consulted. They opened it up for retail shops, we were never consulted. So the state has totally ignored the governments around it, but yet they'll talk to Ferndale, they'll talk to Bellingham, and they've had their input, but we were never asked what we thought. So that's kind of when I started asking questions, what about us? And then somehow kind of evolved into this big change. So what that industry is going to look like, I don't know, but some of you might be interested in it. It's brand new. I think we're 5 years behind that whole industry. The states have been doing this for quite a while. Our state's doing it. So if you guys are thinking about that or hearing about that, we're probably quite a ways out yet from that thought. It's a good idea, but you know what I'm seeing is that these people are running around Indian country trying to give us money for that, for those jobs and for those revenue streams. It's happening right now. So be aware. If you get caught up into that, be careful, because we're not ready for it at home. I don't think anybody's really ready for it. And I think the tribe needs to think about that industry in a way that what's good and what's bad about it. But we're still putting people in jail. And that bothers me, that it's got to be looked at how we decriminalize some of the things that we're doing to our people. When they can go off reservation and do it, and they come on, you got one white guy over here, one tribal member over here, and we have the rest of the tribal member, the white guy gets free. So those things happen. And it's not fair to the tribal member, I don't think. And it's about fairness for me. How am I doing? Doing good? Am I keeping you awake or not? Any questions, I guess? You know, Rita's here and Shasta's here. If you want to hear some of their thoughts on economic development, they're more than welcome. You know, the nice thing that we have, our council, is that we have some educated Lummis now sitting on the council. And Rita's one of them. You know, I'm real proud of what she's done, accomplished in her life, that she's got a degree now that we could be proud of, and things that she's done for the nation that we can be proud of. You got educated council. Shasta, same thing, is that we have councilmen that are now educated. And some of the things that we need to get them to understand is that you got your white man education, then you get your Indian education. You know, so what that means is basically the education is the stepping stone, but again, is that it's how we do things and it's how we treat each other on the other side. You know, the culture things that you're seeing this morning are things that we try to do to remind ourselves of who we are. And the culture is something that, again, we have to understand what we're evolving to, because it's really changing as I've seen it. You know, and it's hard to hang on. And, you know, I remember Uncle Sam would talk to me about that it's going to, it's the only thing that's going to save us. Because as we go forward, you go down to some of these other reservations, is that they have no culture, some of them. They're really poor in culture. You know, some of our buying culture from Alaska. I've been to the Pequot Reservation in Pequot, Connecticut. Those folks had none. They had to bring people in to pay them to learn how to sing and learn how to dance. That's how poor we are in culture across the country. And Lummi's always been known for how strong we are in our culture. We just can't forget it. And I'm thankful for people like Bill to kind of keep us rooted in who we are. So who you are as Lummi members and who you are as family members, you know, we kind of forget that sometimes, you know, who we are, because it's, you know, I've seen it where, you know, sometimes it's family against family. And we shouldn't be doing that if we follow our culture. So again, is that we need to think about that and what that means. So culture, I think, is something that we need to, you know, keep going, to do the best we can. Think about the flood story, and again, I think we need to think about the new flood. You know, so the new flood is something that I think we're drowning in a lot of these things that we're doing. Our kids are drowning. How are we going to save them? We need to put them in the canoe and send them off in a way that they're going to be strong people. So as we think about that, I want Bill to think about that. So we need to come up with a new legend so that the generations today are the ones that are going to save these kids for tomorrow. What does that look like? So again, think about it in a way that you have time. Most of you I know in this audience are small business people. I'm probably one of your small business advocates. If you have any questions on it, let me know. I'll do anything I can to help you figure out the problem. I've worked with the SBA. I've worked with the BIA. The federal process and policies, I know. How to get you money, I know. How to get through the federal government, I know. Okay, I know all those things. I've done it. Been there, done all that. So if you need help, let me know on some of these things. I can help you a little bit, guide you in what you're thinking on small business. Again, I would encourage you to keep going with your small business ideas, and it's really hard to hang on to those dreams that you want, because don't give up. We're trying to clear the way. So if we see obstacles, you know, you got Sean Lawrence here, you know, that guy's going to be one of our new stars here. I look at him as he's our new star. Sean, stand up. Give this guy a hand. He's our economic guy. This guy is one of your new leaders, you guys. Support him. Uh-oh, now he's going to talk. So I'll finish up and then I'll turn it over to Sean. But, you know, this guy's, he's got a lot of potential for the nation and building our economy. We just got to support it. We got to support Laura, who's, you know, doing her best on CDFI, getting the money and helping us maintain that. That's all important to you, to support you. We got to support one another. And it's very important how we do that. So again, as we figure that out, and what that means is things like this that get us started. Today it begins. For some of you today it begins. How we do that, how we go forward. So as you come here today to kind of learn more about what's happening and how it's happening, hope you can learn all you can, because, you know, my mother and my grandmother would say to learn something every day. So learn something every day you can, or read something every day. I tell people to read every day and try to read something that makes sense around what you're doing. Find something, it's all on the web now. So there's more information on that web than you can imagine. I still can't figure it out, but read every day. Read about small business. Read about your laws. Read about, you know, people that are doing it. There's role models out there that are there to encourage you. You know, I always look at it as, you know, Tulalip's can do what they got, we can do better. I always put myself against Tulalip. Darn old Tulalips, they're just beating the hell out of us. They got the bigger casino, we want the bigger casino. You know, now we're going to build the biggest gas station, so we're going to one-up the Tulalips. Anyway, that's kind of what, where I think. Yes, sir.
Just throwing this out there, back to your marijuana issue, has the tribe considered textile hemp as opposed to medical and recreational marijuana? It's just an idea to kind of toss out there. It produces a lot more pluses, and it is, if you looked into it, it is a considerable, what they call out there, green product. A lot safer to use. It produces a multitude of products. So just something to toss out there as, you know, going back to that marijuana issue. I mean, it's like, to me, it's, I don't know, they just want to keep us stoned and stupid so they can't see what they're stealing.
So right now, I kind of waited till after the election because I wasn't sure I was going to get back on council or not. So now we're back on. Whitney is on the back part of the task force. I think she's been there helping us figure this out. Cliff was on there. He's gone. We need some help on it. So if you folks want to join the effort on this thing, is that we're still looking at it. There's been no final decision on this issue. So it's been kind of one of those areas, like I said, we're 5 years behind on this whole industry and what's good and bad about it. So right now, we're just kind of haven't really got it any thought. So we're still kind of, still just molding, you know, whether we make a decision. You know, the tribes I know that have looked at it are Cowbell, and they just decriminalized it. They didn't do anything with it, but they recognize that this thing is hurting their people, or they're arresting them for reasons that are legal in the state. So they decriminalized it. So just to protect their people from arresting themselves on something that's legal off reservation. So Squamishes are doing it, but they're only going to do retail. They haven't grown anything. The tribes in Wisconsin are looking at hemp. I know that. And I think it's a good thing, but like I said, we don't know anything about it. We're still learning. So if you have ideas on it, so just come forward and let us know that you want to help and figure this thing out with us. How'd I do? Okay? So again, I just want to, again, behalf of the council, thank you. I wasn't realize I was going to be the keynote, taking Alan Parker's place. And Alan's been one of my mentors. You know, he was the chief of staff for Senator Inouye when I met him. Pat Zell was there, and she took over when Alan left. So I know Alan, and his whole goal was to do what we're doing right now, was to create a bank. But he wanted an Indian bank. And we did the best we could to make that bank work, but we just couldn't get the traction with the leaders to pick that up and make that bank work, because the banks are something that we need. So we started our own bank, which Laura's heading up, and I think we're heading down a bigger road here with a CDE. Are you going to share that later? Yeah. So as you look forward, how we're growing this whole way to access capital and access support is through a bigger step is CDE. And that's just a bigger bite that we take off to provide capital and funding for small businesses. New market tax credits, I think have just launched. So that's how we built the Little Bear Creek, was new market tax credits. And we built this place, new market tax credits. And this place was built by EDA. The ground you stand on was a $500,000 grant we found in HUD. We almost lost it. So it was a HUD grant that we bought this thing with. And how we put this thing together was through, I can't remember who helped put this together, Evan, but the ventures. But it was a vision that we had was to support the ventures program with the seafood, the arts and crafts. My only beef, I think we should have put a sign for you guys here. There's no sign. And there's no advertisement to know that we're here. So I hope we can do a better job this year in supporting this effort in small business. This place was built for you. It wasn't built for the tribe, it was built for you. Dee showed me this morning the seafood outlet for our fishermen. That's gotta take hold somehow. So we gotta do a better job in getting that seafood to our fishermen so they understand that they can get $9 a pound for crab and $8 a pound for fish. We gotta figure that out and why that's not working. Why aren't our fishermen responding? I don't know. Why isn't our small businesses growing the way we want them to grow? I don't know. That's you guys is to figure out. Why aren't they growing? Same thing we're asking our kids. Why aren't our kids learning? We don't know. They say it starts at the home. And I say for you, it starts with reading and understanding what you're trying to do in small business. So the more you can understand about small business, the stronger you are. Knowledge is really powerful. So the more you're about growing your business and taxation, policies, things that you need to work through. It's not just opening the doors and expecting people to walk in and do things. You got to change the policies and understand how the policies work with our tribe and the states. They're there for you. SBA has a whole bunch of policies to support you. State of Washington has a lot of policies to support you. So it's just how you get through that maze of policies to get what you want to do, and getting those contracts and getting the revenue and the things you want to see for your business. It takes time. So again, is that just don't give up, and I encourage you folks that are here to follow your dreams on it and don't give up. So again, just hang in there. Haishka. Thank you.